Would you believe I look back since 2016? I found the paperwork that went with this, which is here, and so yeah, sat on the side and hadn't been touched. But it sounds really good, this machine, but unfortunately there is an issue, and the issue is it's completely gummed up. And in fact the prowl, the main cog which returns the arm and lets it sink, is actually seized up, and I'm going to have to try and put some penetrating on that and trying to unseize it. So what happens, and obviously this will be a project that I share with you. I've taken the stylus out. It's a ceramic stylus, really nice machine. I bought this, the guy I bought this off, I remember at the time, it was a collect only, but I persuaded him to post it, and I paid the postage. I think it was about £20. It was really cheap 4 years ago, partly because it had this issue. So when you actually turn the turntable, it will actually ride itself now, but when it comes to playing, it gets to there and that's it. You can't go any further. You can try, and sometimes no. So if you put it on auto, and I know what the problem is. It's gunked up to high heaven. It won't do it for you now, but so I've turned it off. Now, obviously once we start digging into this, I'll do a video on this machine. It's very similar. This was built in 1975. I know that because there's a date on here, and it's Maria Gray's college it went to, because there's on the back, and it's got 775 on there, so that tells you the age of this machine. It's a lovely deck. These Mark IVs are really lovely decks, great sound, all transistor, as is the one that's over here, but that's from the 60s. This one's from the 60s, and this has got this is a Mark III deck on that one. I had the same problem with that one. In fact, the prowl on that one inside the turntable had worn, so it won't actually return anyway, so I disconnected it. But this is a really nice machine. It's got a 33 7-inch, 33 12-inch, 45 7-inch, and 78 10-inch you play, though you probably could play a 12-inch on here as well. So yeah, and it's usual stuff on the side. The only thing it hasn't got is an output for the external speaker, which I might add, because there's a very tiny speaker in here, as opposed to the other machine, which has a big Goodman's speaker in there. So yeah, but that was the second project. Well, hi guys, welcome back. And as you've noticed, the first part of this video, this is the Goodsell record player, the Goodsell Schools record player, part 1. And what I've done is, because I did a preview, like sneak peek, on the video that I uploaded yesterday, then you'd have seen this machine feature on that video, along with the portogram, which will be a second project coming after this one. I've chosen this one first of all because this is the most challenging one at the moment, and the one that I've had most concerns about, in terms of, as I showed on the previous clip, the return arm for the Garrard SP Mark IV, which this deck is, and this is a really nice machine. So I thought to talk to you a little bit more about that this afternoon, and what I've done since, because I just couldn't resist getting into this before I showed you on video. So I'm going to take you through that. So this machine, as I mentioned right at the beginning, I've had in my collection for about 4 years. I think it was 2016 the paperwork was saying that I had this, and this machine came from, I think it was Scotland in the end, and it's the Maria Gray College, just to be correct, because that is actually written on the side. You might just be able to see that here, Maria Gray College there. LBF must be the department, and 775, so 1975 when they had it. Doesn't mean to say it was made in 1975. It was probably made around the 1970s, because the other machine, as I shared to you, the other one I've got, this is the, I think I'm going to call this the 448, because that's the product number on the lid, and it comes with the lid, which is over here. I'm just going to, with 4 screws, so this lid it comes like this, like this, like, if I just gently put that there, so we go like that, and then has some clips at the side which snap down. So there we go, that's the whole thing. So yeah, and you can see where obviously some students have decided to put their initials on the top here. It looks like an A or something. I'll be cleaning all that off, and also the handle is a bit getting a bit frayed, a bit old at the front there. So yes, so used in colleges and schools. The other one was Clark and Smith made the similar machines, and you can get those on eBay as well. So I'm just going to put this one back over here on the 118, leave it on the 118. So there we go. So yeah, so the challenge really is to get this machine going. It does work, it is working, the electronics are fine. There's a bit scratchiness on the old controls, but that's nothing new. And in fact, when I first switched it on, after 4 years of sitting on the side in the workshop here, it took a few minutes before it sprung into life with a few crackles, and then everything was working well. So yeah, so let me just pause the video, and then I'll come back to you when I've taken the turntable. I'll take the turntable off and be back in a second. Right, the turntable's off, and the turntable was made of very heavy aluminium with a steel ring, and it's what they call an idle wheel type machine, so therefore it has this rubber wheel which runs against the motor. This is the main motor here, and the really nice motor. Strong motors from Garrard. Garrard are the premium to making these machines, and as you know, the Garrards in the gramophones, they really did grow up you know, making this type of engineering. So yes, and that's working, that all works, and I'll show you how that happens if you haven't already followed me before. Now if you go back to one of my very early videos on the Garrard SP Mark IV, I've actually had several of these machines and earlier ones, and I show you how to service those, so I won't bore you with that bit. The problem I had was that this cog here allows the whole thing to work in terms of when it gets to either automatically lays the arm onto the turntable, or it lifts at the end. And the problem was, this was fixed. I could not get this off, even though it's got a C-clip on there which goes there, and also this prowl, which is here, is quite stiff. It's better than it was, and I'll explain about that in a second. So what happens is that actually, on the inside of the turntable, which I'll show you, there's a little cog here, and then there's a catch piece here, and what happens is that piece catches, that's what we call the prowl, that catches this piece here when this is out, when the arm has come fully over, which it won't do still, it catches, and then that engages with the teeth on this cog, and that engages on the inside of the turntable. And then there's a whole mechanism that goes underneath. There's a track system here under here, which I'll show in a second, and then that allows the arm to lift up and then go back to rest. Obviously the weight is different because I haven't got this stylus in there. For safety reasons I've taken it out so I don't damage it. The problem I had was getting this off, and I put loads of penetrating oil, left it for a few days, still I could not get that to remove. So then I came up with another idea. I thought, well, if we know that we've got two different alloys here, aluminium and steel, so why don't I heat this one slightly, which will release any gunk that's gone to goo, you know, like the oil goes to a really sort of hard, glutinous, sort of, you know, rubbery stuff it sometimes comes. I had it, you know, like cheese, I suppose is a way of describing it. So I haven't got a blowtorch or anything like that, and that would be too heavy anyway. So then I came up with using just an ordinary soldering iron. I'll show you the one I've probably got it in here. This soldering iron here is one of my old ones, and I use the end, and just literally, if I show you, I should have got this all set up so you would know exactly what I'm talking about. I got this one, and I literally put it against here, and just I stood here for about, well, it must have been a good 10 minutes, and then just kept at it, and it got hotter and hotter and hotter, and in the end I then, using a spatula, this heavy duty spatula, lifted this off very gently without breaking it, because this is quite soft aluminium. And I did that, and it came off. So if it should come off now. This is how it should come off, but I haven't even greased it yet. So I took it off, and then here we are. Yay, that's really good. I was really happy about that. I tried knocking it, tapping it, you name, I tried everything. But obviously sitting there for years, I tried oiling as well. And so the little thing that's important is that this piece here is still a bit too stiff. I've wiggled it and wiggled it. So you don't normally have to oil that, but I'm gonna have to do that because it is just so stiff. What happens is that when the, let me show you, when the arm moves, this bit here, so this piece in the middle, you can just see that it moves. There you go, and that's how it gets to the centre. So it's quite free now, and in fact it will play a record quite happily without that cog on. Or when I disabled the prowl, this piece here, I took the bit off and it worked perfectly. I'd hate playing 78s and every other speed. It's perfect speed conditions, even though it's got loads of old gunk around this ball chase here, and it all needs cleaning and all loads of other stuff to do, which I'll do as part of the service, and I'll show you how we do that. So yeah, so that's where I am with that. I've still got some work to do because I'm still not happy that this is totally, it's not going as much as it should do, and so it needs a bit more help on there. And I'm going to probably have to put some more oil in there, take it out, put some more oil in there, and then see what happens. All the other ones, all the other players I've got, they all work on the same system, and that's how they trigger. Some of them you have that if you press off, it then does it automatically. It triggers it to happen. It pushes another lever in, and it will then automatically do that. But most players work on the same. Even the later models of these, which had a belt drive system, they did exactly the same. They used the same system. And the belt drive, of course, why they use belt drives as opposed to the rubber idle wheel is that, of course, you get less noise transfer from the motor, and that's why they do it. They're quieter on there. But this one is pretty quiet anyway. And the amplifier's quite good in this, though I'm not totally happy with some of the sound, but it may be the speaker, and I might do some work on that in putting an external speaker system in there. But here we go. So I thought that would be this afternoon, just to show you what's happening so far. So that's really about all I'm going to do on part one of this project. And so like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Thank you almost for all the other comments that I've received from all the other things I had. And what we'll do is when we get into the meat a bit more, then obviously I'll play some music at the same time. And I know you look forward to that. So until next one, all the best, keep safe. And hopefully we're coming out of lockdowns very soon. Next week, next Wednesday, the 3rd. So we'll just wait to hear from the government about how the tiers are all going to work in the UK. And I'm quite excited about that. I think Maidstone, which sits in Kent, I think we'll end up in tier 2 personally, because numbers are going up. I think Kent will be a whole area, because we know in Swale, which is sort of the Isle of Sheppey, if anyone knows that area, the numbers are really high there. So God knows what those people over there are doing, but they need to be following the bloody rules, I think. But yeah, excuse my French. But anyway. More about this record player then. So thank you very much for tuning in to the Goodsell Schools Record Player 44, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.